Imagine you have spent so much emotion on someone, but now there is only silence. No text, no call, no explanation. You sit there wondering if your silence has any effect on them. This is where your silence can become powerful, but only if you clearly understand its reason and purpose. Otherwise, it is simply noise without any power. Let's learn how silence can help you regain control and power in your life. When you are faced with silence from someone, the first thing you need to remember is that you can only control yourself, not their actions. If you start thinking too much about what they're doing or why they're quiet, you will feel out of control and easily fall into feelings of anxiety. Stoicism teaches us that the emotions and reactions of others are not something we can control, but how we react is entirely up to us. For example, instead of letting other people's silence make you feel confused or frustrated, focus on controlling your emotions and looking at things clearly and calmly. When you do, you will feel much stronger and more in control. The power of silence is not always recognized properly. Often we think of silence as something negative, but actually, it can be a powerful tool to protect yourself. When you stay silent, you don't let other people's emotions control you. It helps you stay calm and focus on what you can control. If you use silence intentionally, not to play games or make others nervous, but to make yourself stronger, then that is true power. Try thinking about times when you've been silent in a conversation and realize that being silent can make you radiate charisma, making others wonder about you. When faced with someone's silence, it's easy to feel weak and hurt. But what Stoicism taught me is that true strength comes not from what happens to you, but from how you react. I remember times when I felt like I had lost an important part of my life, but instead of wallowing in grief, I began to learn how to recover emotionally. My feelings are mine, and I have control over how I feel about them. Emotional resilience is when I stop, take a deep breath, and don't let external things shake me. I learned to recognize my emotions, then let them go, instead of clinging to them. It's not about denying my feelings. It's about understanding that they are not the only thing that defines who I am. For example, when I feel sad or angry, instead of reacting immediately, I take time to think, and then I decide the best way to act. This helps me become stronger and stay calm in all situations. The power of emotional resilience is key for me to maintain stability in all circumstances. The art of letting go is one of the most difficult things I have ever learned. When others withdraw or stay silent, my natural reaction is to try to hold them back, to hold on tighter. But I realize that sometimes the strongest way is to let go. Letting go doesn't mean I don't care or love anymore. It means I don't let other people's actions define me. For example, I used to think that if I didn't do something, I would lose someone important. But as I learned to let go, I realized that self-respect and freedom in the relationship are much more important. When I stopped trying to change others and just focused on improving myself, I felt so much lighter. Letting go is the way for me to protect myself and find peace. Building inner peace is not easy, but it is one of the most important journeys I have taken. When I felt disturbed, I began to learn how to find peace within myself. Instead of getting caught up in external emotions, I take time to reflect on myself, so as not to let situations or other people's actions cause me to lose my balance. One of the ways I do this is through meditation or journaling. When I stop and reflect on my emotions, I realize that they are not things I need to react to immediately. Instead, I learn to accept and let them go. The feeling of peace comes from understanding that no matter how chaotic the outside world is, I can still create a safe space within my own soul. When I started looking at relationships in a different way, I realized something important. The feeling of togetherness is actually just an illusion. It's easy to feel attached, thinking we need someone to feel complete, but the reality is that this attachment isn't always what makes us happy. I used to think that love or relationships depended on holding tight to the other person. But then I realized that when you truly understand yourself, when you love yourself and respect your space, you won't feel afraid to let go. The feeling of attachment is not something you need to maintain at all costs, but rather the freedom and understanding that you don't need to be attached to anyone to feel complete. Time is a powerful tool that I have learned through every challenge in life. When things get tense, it feels like everything is going haywire. I often forget that time will make things clearer. The initial feelings when a relationship changes or when you feel lost are not forever. As I let time pass, I noticed that the feeling of pain or confusion gradually faded. Time allows me to think deeper, become more aware of myself and of what is truly important. Instead of rushing to find answers right away, I learned to give myself space, allowing time to heal and help me make better decisions. Everything will be fine. Just be patient and trust the process. The power of perspective can truly change the way we see things. I realize that when faced with difficult situations, if I change my perspective, I will feel lighter. For example, when someone is silent or withdrawn, I may feel rejected, but instead, I try to see it as an opportunity for me to grow. That feeling is not a loss, but a liberation, an opportunity for me to reconsider my self-worth. My perspective has changed, and that helps me find strength in moments of silence. When I don't let situations control my emotions, I feel freer and stronger than ever. True power lies in the ability to change your own perspective. When faced with silence or relationship difficulties, I learned that instead of focusing on what I've lost, I should be grateful for what I still have. Gratitude helps me see things more positively. Every day, I spend a few minutes thinking about good things, no matter how small. It could be support from friends, peaceful moments, or life lessons. When I started practicing gratitude, I realized that life is full of wonderful things, and that feeling helps me be more resilient in every situation. Finally, I want you to remember that silence, changes in relationships, or challenges you face are not the end. In fact, it is an opportunity for you to learn, to grow, and find peace within yourself. When you know how to let go, control your emotions, and practice gratitude, you will see that freedom and happiness do not come from controlling others, but from controlling yourself. Believe in yourself, and things will gradually become clearer.